Welcome, friends, to Unity of Fort Myers virtual service. We're continuing our series with Reverend Robert Brumet on birthing a greater reality, based on his book of that title. With me today is my platform assistant, Heather DeRocher, and I'm Reverend Carla McClellan, and I'm delighted to share this Father's Day with you.
Hello, beautiful human. Today we've got a love song for all the deserving men out there.
Yes, we do. And we have each been blessed to have some really fabulous men in our lives. The thing is, a lot of times they don't know how fabulous they are, and we forget to tell them.
Yeah, so if you are fortunate enough to have a beautiful man in your life, share this video with them.
Yeah.
Good morning. We have so many wonderful things happening right now for you that we hope you're participating in. And the ways that you can find out about all the things we have going on our Facebook page, on our website, on our weekly email. So we hope you're reading all those, and we're grateful to the office staff who's putting that out for us. And Reverend Carla is available on Thursdays for you, so we hope you take advantage of that. She'd love to talk with you and help you if there's anything that you need. And we really hope that you'll join us today after service for our virtual coffee hour, where we connect and talk and catch up and get to see one another in an informal way. One of the other things that we really want to make sure you're aware of is prayer in Unity. Unity was founded on prayer, and our prayer chaplains are available for you here now for anything that you need. Prayer requests can be emailed in. You can call the office at 239-278-1511. You can also put them right here in Facebook on the chat. And we hope that you'll put lots of things in the chat. Tell us how we're doing and what you're seeing and what you're noticing. And you can also call Silent Unity 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that number is right on the screen for you. So keep that in a handy place in case you need it.
And now, my friends, let us open our service in prayer. Imagine that we're all sitting in a great, big, beautiful garden. And we take a breath in and surrender fully to this moment. We acknowledge the very presence of life, of love, of wisdom is here with us now. That presence is known as divine love. It is felt by a spiritual feeling through our bodies as we open ourselves up to all things being possible with the true creator of all things, God. As we imagine that we are God with hands and feet, so that we can contribute our uniqueness into this world. We are grateful for the fathers and the divine masculine energy that protects, that loves, that serves, that contributes to our well-being. And so we begin, again, birthing a greater reality. Amen.
Usually at this time in our service, we have a reading. And as we are on a series on birthing a greater reality, this week we would like to invite you to watch this short and very powerful video called By an Extraordinary Moment. It will share with you information and inspiration about World Unity Week, which is a precursor or a stop along the road, a birthing space, if you will, for a larger scale global celebration across Peace Weekend 2020, centered on the annual UN International Day of Peace in September. We hope you enjoy this video.
The global pause caused by the pandemic is uniting the world in new ways. While on the surface, we may seem more separated than ever, this common experience is inviting humanity to see just how connected we truly are. Seizing this moment, we have an opportunity to foster a truly historic movement towards global unity. Can you imagine what it would feel like to shift from me to we? Can you imagine what a more unified world might look like? This is the modern world today. A collection of over 190 nations separated by artificial borders. The diversity of our global family is beautiful, and yet, too often, we have allowed our differences to divide us. Each nation looking out for its own self-interest, often at the expense of another, or worse, at the expense of our planet and all of life. And could it be that during times of greatest tension, we have the biggest opportunity for true unity to emerge? What would it feel like to see ourselves as citizens of the planet first, without losing our national and cultural identities? Are we ready to experience what's possible with a genuine spirit of unity? World Unity Week is convened by over 70 civil society organizations from all over the world. Join us for 8 powerful days of events, performances, and conversations as thousands gather to forge a new path for humanity. You are invited to join or even host sessions. This event isn't the same old sages on a stage, and yes, anyone can host a session. Never underestimate the power of your voice to influence the path of history. Participate by attending live, hosting a session, or becoming a partner. Go to worldunityweek.org now to reserve your spot in the world's biggest conversation as we collectively answer the call and help turn the planet towards a beautiful and vibrant future for all.
Hello, Robert. I'm so grateful you're with me as we're exploring this whole process of birthing a greater reality. And truly, it is a worldwide birthing process, isn't it?
Amen. Amen. We were just chatting a little bit ago about how we're dealing with so many issues at so many different layers. And yeah, there's a lot happening. Birth is painful. It's messy. It's unpredictable. And yet there's new life coming forth.
Yes. And the other thing that I was reflecting on earlier this morning was how interesting it's Father's Day, because we need to integrate the divine masculine with the divine feminine to create, to birth anything. Yeah. And so it seems like the world has caught up with we're doing shadow work. And we're looking at it. So once we integrate, then we're not through yet, are we?
Right. And this is what the last chapter was about, going beyond our humanness.
Yes.
And that involves recognizing that we are human, yet we're more than human. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. But to get to that place, we need to really work with and heal all aspects of our human nature, and that's a task in itself. So it's important to realize different practices have their place at different times and at different levels. And so I know I'll work with a spiritual director, and I'll work with somebody in psychotherapy, and I may be working with two different, the same issue at two very different levels. You know, the one is the level of healing the ego structure, the personal self. The other is at the level of transcending the personal self. So it's important to recognize those are two things that need to be addressed, but it's important not to get them mixed up, because it's like
that is so true, and it's so easy to get them mixed up.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's, and so as we go forward, talking about, if you don't mind, I'll jump into religion and new thought, because it seems like the right time to bring up that we really, in New Thought, embrace our spiritual nature by bypassing our humanity and doing the deeper work of healing the shadow and past issues.
Yeah. So that's the religion, of course, is sometimes notorious for the spiritual bypass, because we want to be transcendent and rise above and so forth. And actually, there's a time for that. But if we do it too soon, then all we're doing is either holding back our progress, or we're really not waking up. We're going to be kind of a neurotic light person, if you will. It's really not going to work, you see. So we need to do each thing at the right time and in the right order.
So talk to me about this chapter, Birthing a Greater Reality.
Yeah. So that's the thesis of the book, is that our individual transformative process, which we've been talking about in the last two chapters, and then the global transformative process, which we've been talking in the earlier chapters, that I've read books on either one of those, but I've never read a book that's brought them together. And that's what this book is about the really your personal process is inseparable from the global process, and that it's not two different things. It feels like two different things, but one is the microcosm, the other is the macrocosm. And the bottom line is that as you and I and all of us really follow our journey and say, what's my path? What's mine to do? And as we do our internal and external transformative work, we are then doing what's most needed in the world. What the world needs most is what you love the most. And there's a line from Greg LeVoy's book, Callings, that
I love that book.
I wrote it down. Yeah, it says, you'll find a place where the gladness of your heart meets the hunger of the world. And that's really what we're talking about here, is that the world is hungry for just exactly what you have to give. And you don't have to look to the world to find out what you have to give. Just look at your own heart and soul. And what you love and what brings you alive is what your greatest gift to the world that you can give. That's when it needs the most.
It reminds me of that Howard Thurman quote that I just love is, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and do that. That's what the world needs, is you to come alive. You, each one of us, to come alive.
What do you love? What brings you alive? You bet.
Mm-hmm. So when I was listening to you talk about this conscious evolution, this being awake, to birthing something greater than we've ever experienced before, and recognizing our humanity and our spirituality, I was thinking of Ken Wilber and his work on his integral theory. Can you share that with our audience?
It's hard to be brief when it comes to Ken Wilber. So much there. But in regard to the book, Birthing a Greater Reality, the primary reference is to what he calls the four quadrants. The four quadrants is a theoretical structure that really is a map as to how we experience life. The one quadrant, if you imagine a plus sign, the one quadrant up here in one corner is the individual internal experience. So in other words, it's my own thoughts, my own feelings, it's internal and it's individual, it's personal. Nobody else knows them or sees them. And it's just internal. Now, if I go to the other side of the vertical line, what I see is the external aspect of this. So I see my body, I see my condominium here, my furniture, things like that, how I live my life in the physical world. Then in the bottom quadrants, on the left is the internal collective. And it has to do with my relationships. It has to do with what I love, who I love. It has to do with the culture that I live with. It has to do with the very thing we've been talking about earlier, that idea of racism or classism or cultural identity. That's what resides in the third quadrant. Then in the fourth quadrant is the collective external, which has to do with like political systems, governmental systems, things like that. So the point is that evolution needs to take place in all four quadrants. And those quadrants need to inform one another and be balanced by one another. So for someone to have a spiritual awakening, that's in the first quadrant, personal. It's a purely subjective experience. But that's going to change my life externally, how I live my life. It may affect my health. It may affect my income, my finances, so on and so forth. It's going to affect my relationships, how I relate to others, who I relate to. It's going to reflect how I am in the world, you see. So they're all interrelated. And it's important that one be consistent with the other. Because if I'm an awakened person and I'm in a community that doesn't recognize that, in fact, may even stifle that, that's not going to work very well.
No.
So the collective has to support the personal, the external has to support the internal, and vice versa. So in order to be whole beings, evolution must take place in all four of those quadrants. My personal life internally, my personal life and how I live it in the world, the culture that I live with, the culture that I'm part of, that has to be transformed as well. And the government, the politics. And so, because right now what's happening in the world, I think, is that the collective internal is transforming. We're waking up to, look at the acceptance of the gay marriages and so forth, how quickly that took place. But the political system, the government, is not keeping up with that. And so there's a tension. And that's what we're seeing also right now when people take to the streets. They're saying, hey, what we as individuals and what we as a culture need and want is not being met externally in the police force, in the political system, in the government. So,
and this isn't to point our finger or blame.
No, it's just that we're
anyone. It's just where we are, accepting where we are.
Exactly. So the government needs to be consistent with the culture, and the culture needs to be consistent with the individual, and we need to be consistent with ourselves, both internally and externally. Because we all know about people that maybe they study and they read and they pray and they meditate, but their external life is a mess. Their relationships are a mess. They don't pay their bills. They don't take care of themselves physically. Those are examples when we're out of sync in the four quadrants. So looking at all four quadrants. So if we're going to transform the world, or if the world is transforming us, it's important to address all four of these quadrants. So that's a very crucial point.
It sounds like a very heady point, but I know it isn't necessarily all. It has to do with our intellect, but more to do with that how you talk about that desire. It's really
like if you build a school system, it's got to address all four quadrants if it's going to work right. Any kind of a system has to work with how is it affecting the individual, subjectively, objectively. You can have great teachers and great textbooks and brilliant students, but if there's no air in the room, or if it's too hot or too cold, or the kids don't have enough to eat, it's off or not, you see, et cetera, et cetera. So that's that piece of it. And then regarding the desire, that's a real interesting thing, because the way I came across this is that I'm kind of a Buddhist, and I'm also a unity minister. And the unity minister says, quotes Emily Cady saying, desire in the heart is God opening the door of your consciousness, saying there's something greater for you. And the Buddhist is saying desire is the cause of all suffering. And it's like, wow, two enlightened beings, how did they come up with two very different opposite statements? Well, and what I see is that when the Buddha talks about desire, He's talking about craving attachment to external objects or internal objects. So it's desire with attachment to an outcome. Emily Cady is talking about desire deep in the heart. And so a wonderful exercise is to explore what we really want the most. Because ultimately, there's only one desire, the desire of the heart, but it gets hijacked by the mind. You know, it's kind of like the body needs food, but the mind says you have to have pizza, or you have to have something from this restaurant. Or, so we get craving, we get attached. And the body is just saying, I need food, I need healthy food. And so desires get hijacked. So if we can stay with that desire in an interesting process we can do individually or even with others, is say something you want. Okay, I want a new car. Okay, so I'll give you a new car. You got a new car. Now what do you want? Well, I want a new house. Okay, you got that. Well, I want a better marriage. Okay, you got that. Now what? Okay. Well, I want greater peace of mind. Okay, you got peace of mind. Now what? So you keep on. If every desire is filled, what do I want? What do I want? Ultimately, it's I want to discover and express the depth of who I am. That's the divine. Ultimately, that's what we want, is to discover and uncover and express the divine. But we have layered all these other things saying, well, I can't do that. I can't be happy and I can't really express God until I get a new house, a new car, more money, et cetera, et cetera. So looking at desire and just letting ourselves be motivated by our deepest desire and not get sidetracked. Very powerful way to live.
Share with our listeners that quote you gave me this morning. That which we desire.
Oh yeah, that which we desire the most. No, what we desire the most is that which desires. So in other words, what we really want is where the desire is coming from.
Yeah.
So it's like God has sowed within each of us this seed that says, what you want is me because that's what you really are. But then we go like the prodigal son or the prodigal daughter, go into the far country and we say, yeah, but I want God, but I want an ice cream cone more, or I want a car more, or I want drug, sex, and rock and roll more, or whatever it is. I want that more. And that's where we get locked into the world. And that's where we get locked into suffering and discord, et cetera, et cetera. So once we come back home, discover what we really want the most, we can have these other things, but they're really like frosting on the cake. They're very much secondary. They're not the source of our happiness. They're simply tools that can support our happiness. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to you. I'm not looking to anything outside of myself to make me happy. And yet my relationships and my work becomes even more meaningful because that relationship is deeper. I'm not trying to get something from you, but I'm here to serve you, to love you, and to play with you in birthing a new reality.
Beautiful,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. I find it really fascinating that we're having this discussion right now, and June 20th began World Unity Week. that celebrates the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. And there's going to be a week-long discussion all over the world of how do we demonstrate peace? How do we take care of our planet? How do we handle racial issues? And what I see is so many heroes out there trying to do it all. So remember, we're not doing it alone. We're doing it arm in arm, hand in hand,
Right.
jumping off the edge of our knowing into the unknown, and we're all scared.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
we're so much more than that.
Exactly. And that's where when a particular problem like, the global crisis, global climate crisis, global warming as it is, that's in the lower right. That's a collective, that's a physical. So the whole question is, what's the culture? What culture we have that creates this? And what culture we have depends upon the individuals and how the individuals live their life. So how does the individual recycle, et cetera, et cetera? Do they drive a gas guzzling car? So looking at all four of these quadrants, attitude, culture, how we live our lives individually, and then we can begin to create solutions to global problems. But if we try to create a solution in one quadrant without looking at the other three, it's not going to work.
Bingo. And so activating our observational skills and our curiosity.
Yes. And seeing the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
From the big picture.
Well, take us into birthing a greater reality meditation now, Robert, as we close out the session today. And I want to remind people that Robert is available to answer questions. So send your questions to me, revcarlamc@gmail.com, for next week's show. All right, Robert. Take us into birthing a greater reality.
Well, I would invite you to take a deep breath, become aware of your body sitting in the chair or wherever it's sitting or standing or seated. Just being aware of the body. And then I invite you to put your hand on your heart. To feel your heartbeat if you can, or to feel that it's your pulse or your neck. Just feel your heartbeat. Feel the life in your body. About 75 or so times a minute, the heart beats 24/7 our whole life. So that heartbeat is the desire of the universe, wanting to express itself through you. That heartbeat began not just when you were born or conceived, but that heartbeat that you feel or imagine began about 14 billion years ago with what scientists are now calling the Big Bang. From nothing comes everything. And each heartbeat, where does it come from? Nobody knows. They can tell us how the heart works, but not why. So just feeling your heart center, recognizing that your heart is like a star being born, like the Big Bang. And know that your body is quite literally made from stardust. Every element in your body was created in the core of a distant star. So you are a child of the universe, quite literally. And this planet that we all share together is part of our universe as well. And each of us is an integral part of the birthing of a new way of being. For each of us as individuals, for our culture and our country, for our planet, and very possibly beyond all of that. So your being, your intention, your willingness to awake, your willingness to discover who and what you really are, your willingness to discover and explore the deepest desire of your heart is all part of that expression of God living through you. The universe is living in you and as you. So I invite you just to rest and allow the universe to do its work in you, through you, to allow God to be God in you. Each breath, each heartbeat at a time, in the silence, as we rest in the silence. And as we return from the silence remains within us. The Big Bang, the universe, life itself, God itself, is operating in and through every aspect of your being, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, relational. You are an integral part of the birthing of a new reality in this planet at this time. I invite you to celebrate that and to simply be willing to say, yes, I will. Whatever Spirit guides me to do, yes, I will. Yes, I will. It's the greatest choice you've ever made. It will change your life forever. and so it is. Thank you, Spirit, for all of who we are. And amen.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Carla. It's been a joy to be with you once again.
See you next week, my friend.
You bet. You bet.
The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from error.
For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
We are so grateful to each and every one of you for your support, continued support during this time. For all the things that we do, we depend on you and your donations. There are multiple ways for you to support our work at this time. You may text the word Give Unity Fort Myers to 44321. There is also a button on our website that can be used to donate. We give you many thanks for all of those donations.
And now let's bless our offerings. Divine love, flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am so very grateful. Amen.
Amen. And now I invite you to join me in warming up your hands so that we can bless our children and the children of the world. Join me now. You are loved, special, and important. We behold and bless the Christ you are. And now let us each in our hearts remember that peace on earth begins with us. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Let it begin with us. And our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well.
Be blessed, my friends. Stay tuned and join us for the coffee hour on Zoom in just a few moments. Till next week.
Say thank you, thank you, thank you, 'cause I'm so grateful, oh grateful, I'm so grateful. So I wanna say thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Now thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. I wanna say thank you.
Thank you.
I wanna say thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanna say thank you.
Say thank you.
'Cause I'm so grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
I'm so grateful. I wanna say thank you.
Wanna say thank you.
Just thank you.
Thank you.
I wanna say thank you.
Wanna say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
'Cause I'm so grateful. Yeah. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I wanna just say thank you now. Just thank you now.